Alright folks, take the blue pill, slam a metaphysical Red Bull, and grab your tinfoil hats because today we are diving into the deepest rabbit hole Genshin Impact has to offer. And I'm not talking just lore. I mean full-on cosmic reality breakdown, Gnostic allegory, and a theory that connects Genshin, Honkai Impact, and Star Rail into one big metaphysical conspiracy smoothie. So, here it is. Teyvat is a simulation, a bubble world, a metaphysical sandbox created to imprison the remnants of a shattered divinity. And the Moon Sisters? They were its original caretakers, fragments of a fallen god whose crime was creation. Sound familiar? That's because it's a Gnostic story wearing a Genshin skin. Yes, I do sound insane, but buckle up buckaroos, we are going full-on lore mode with this one. Now, as a disclaimer, this is all just speculation and theories my little walnut brain thought up while playing through Honkai Impact and Star Rail, and with the new Genshin Moon lore they dropped, it just fits so perfectly into everything. That being said, don't come at me, but instead, leave your own thoughts and theories and takes on this down in the comments and I might include them in my next lore video. So with that, let's dive in. The monad, the moon, and the madness of creation. In the beginning, there was the monad, the one, the father, the one true, unknowable God. From this source emanated the Eons, perfect spiritual entities. Among them was Sophia, wisdom incarnate. Sophia, tired of waiting for divine Tinder to deliver a match, tried to create life on her own. But like most DIY projects gone wrong, she ended up birthing Yaldabaoth, a malformed god, a blind fool who believed he was the one and only god. Now replace Yaldabaoth with Celestia, and Sophia with the Moon Sisters, and suddenly Genshin's myth starts looking suspiciously familiar. Teyvat is the material world. Celestia is the blind god, self-declared ruler of a prison it thinks it owns. And the Moon Sisters, fragments of the original Divine Mother, cast into orbit to silently watch over a world gone wrong. In Teyvat's mythology, there were once 3 moons, Aria, Sonnet, and Canon. Only one remains now. The others, lost, destroyed, or perhaps sacrificed. Just as Sophia was shattered and buried in the false world she accidentally helped create, so too were the Moon Sisters silenced, their cycle disrupted. The Lunar Trinity, reflections of a fractured god. Each Moon Sister may represent a piece of Sophia's divine essence. Aria, the dreamer, representing hope and the ideal. Sonnet, the observer, reflecting memory, cycles, and law. Canon, the rebel, the one who knew something was wrong and tried to break the cycle. Their threefold nature mirrors Gnostic cosmology, divine feminine fragments trapped in a physical simulation, watching over a world that has forgotten its true origin. And the moons don't just symbolize time, they regulate it. The rhythm of dreams, ley lines, and reality all seem to move to their quiet pulses. So what happens when 2 moons vanish? The cycle is broken, time stutters, and the dream destabilizes. Sound familiar? Because that's Teyvat in a nutshell. Teyvat, the Garden of Ignorance. Imagine Teyvat as a beautiful prison built on the ashes of a divine mistake. It is the Garden of Eden, but curated by Celestia, the Yaldabaoth stand-in, who keeps its inhabitants trapped by lies, gnosis locked away, and ascension kept only for the worthy. Oh, and by the way, gnosis is a Gnostic term meaning knowledge or truth in Greek. But here's the catch. The people of Teyvat have a spark, a sliver of something divine left behind. this is where the Traveler comes in. The Traveler is not from this world. They're like Adam Kadmon, the primordial human from Gnostic myth who still carries the original spark of the pleroma. But in Teyvat, you can't have two sparks at once. Anyone else getting Neon Genesis vibes here? Which is why the Sustainer of Heavenly Principles, possibly Celestia's Archon of Enforcement, seals one of the siblings and dumps the other into the simulation, mind-wiped like a divine hard reset. Because two entangled souls, aware of each other, threaten the very fabric of the system. The nails, the ley lines, and the fractured code. Here's where the Gnostic metaphor becomes mechanical. The celestial nails equal ether anchors equal patches. These are literal nails in the sky, anchoring a decaying simulation like duct tape holding a collapsing motherboard together, just like the nails in Honkai Impact's Mars. The Mars we experience is a simulation of the past civilization, all set inside a super powerful quantum computer. And yup, you guessed it, it's held intact by its ether anchors, the 7 nails. Now, the ley lines are like data streams. They're not just magical tubes, they're memory cables, broadcasting pre-approved historical footage to keep the illusion consistent. The forbidden knowledge is leaked divine code. Not of this world, you say? Yeah, because it isn't. It's uncorrupted pleroma or universal data, like from outside the bubble world, that got smuggled in and is now corrupting the simulation. And domains are data turbulent zones. Like Mars's data turbulent zones in Honkai Impact 3rd, Genshin's domains are isolated testing environments where you can literally farm memory fragments from previous versions of the simulation. Every fight you do in a domain is basically you rerunning a broken side quest from an earlier patch of Teyvat 1.0. What about the Abyss? In Gnostic terms, the Abyss is the kenoma, opposite of the pleroma, which is the chaotic void outside the simulation. It's not evil, it's truth. It's where the other sibling went, or was dragged after being sealed. And guess what? They've started to remember. They know Celestia's lies. They're trying to break the garden. Celestia, the blinded god and the system admin. Let's not sugarcoat it. Celestia is Yaldabaoth. It's a false god enforcing order through ignorance. It hands out visions as both carrots and shackles. Here, have a divine power, just don't ask any questions. You want knowledge? Get erased. You want truth? Meet a celestial nail. Celestia wants order, but not freedom. It wants loyalty, but not understanding. It's not evil in the mustache twirling way. It's more like a machine with a god complex that's terrified of what happens if the simulation breaks. The Dream Seeker's warning. What happens if we wake up? The Mars arc in Honkai Impact 3rd gives us a clue. When the truth is revealed, you can either preserve the lie or burn it all down to the ground. The Dream Seeker is the one who saw through the illusion, and so is the Traveler. Now comes the question, can Teyvat become real? Or does the illusion need to shatter first? Are the Moon Sisters going to return and reboot the system? Or rewrite it entirely? Star Rails, Eons, Emanators, and the divine structure of the universe. Okay, so we've already compared Genshin Impact's Teyvat to a Gnostic garden ruled by a blind machine god, and we've drawn wild parallels to Honkai Impact's Mars and Sophia's cosmic tragedy. But now let's add another cosmic puzzle piece to the timeline, Honkai Star Rail. Because in Star Rail, we get a completely different look at divinity and how the structure of reality actually works. And let me tell you, this stuff isn't just interesting, it might just be the key to understanding Celestia, the Moon Sisters, and why Teyvat exists in the first place. The Eons, Star Rail's gods of conceptual power. In Star Rail, the universe is governed by powerful entities called Eons. These aren't just beefed-up archons. Eons are cosmic-level beings who embody abstract concepts like erudition, preservation, nihility, harmony, and elation, all that good stuff. Imagine if Plato's forms got jacked, stole the Holy Grail, and decided to become MMORPG world bosses. But the key difference here, Eons don't simply grant power. They are the path. You don't worship them per se, you just walk the same path they do. You embody their ideals. This is where it gets spicy. Some characters in Star Rail, like Kafka, Danheng, Blade, are pathstriders. They follow a path, drawing strength from the ideal an Eon represents. But then, there are the real game changers, the Emanators. Emanators are not just followers of a path, they're individuals who have been personally glanced at or blessed by an Eon, granting them divine authority, extraordinary abilities, or reality-altering insight. That term, emanator, comes directly from Gnostic cosmology. The Eons in Gnostic myth emanate from the monad, and now in Star Rail, Eons emanate themselves into mortals, or other emanators. Which begs the question, what if the gods of Genshin were once emanators? Or worse, what if Celestia's archons, and even the Moon Sisters themselves, are fragments, broken emanations of a higher Eon-like consciousness? In Gnostic tradition, emanations become less perfect the further they are from the source. Maybe that's why the archons seem flawed. Why even gods like Venti or Zhongli don't fully understand Celestia. They're operating on a divine trickle-down system, with the source either lost, corrupted, or hijacked. Celestia as a rogue Eon? Let's throw some existential glitter on the chalkboard. What if Celestia itself was once an Eon? Or worse, an Eon that went rogue, cut off from the other divine paths, and began building its own corrupted dream world, aka Teyvat, out of discarded simulation code. Looking at you, Hi3rd. Or Naos? This would explain why Celestia doesn't function like a harmonious force, and why the Archons seem to exist in ignorance of true cosmic law, and also why the forbidden knowledge is dangerous. It could be the knowledge of the original Eons, or the true path beyond Teyvat. The Eons of Star Rail explore realities, exist in multitudes, and embody ideas. But Teyvat feels locked, trapped, frozen in one story. Maybe Celestia took its people, hid them in a simulation, and cut off the path to the rest of the multiverse. Is Star Rail the key to breaking Celestia? If emanators in Star Rail are what humans become when touched by true divinity, what happens when the Traveler in Genshin becomes something more? Could the Traveler be an emanator of something older than Celestia? Could the Moon Sisters have once been emanators of the Eon of Finality? And if that's the case, are we just waiting for someone to walk the true path again to reconnect Teyvat to the stars? In the end, the moon isn't just a reflection of the sun. It's a mirror to forgotten divinity. And maybe, just maybe, it's time to wake it up. Maybe that's why there's still one moon left. Maybe Canon or Arya or whichever survived is still trying to hold the dream together. Not to trap you in it, but to give you time to realize what you are. You're not just playing the game. You are the glitch. You are the fruit of forbidden knowledge. You are the Eve that bit the apple. And now you have a choice. Wake up or dream forever. And that's the theory. Teyvat is a simulation, a Gnostic garden, the Moon Sisters are fragments of Sophia, and Celestia is just a blind god trying to keep the lie intact. So now I turn it over to you. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. Am I absolutely insane? Maybe, but it's a fun kind of insane. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and slam that bell like you're rejecting the visions of a false god. And once again, I am Mufi, and thank you so much for watching.